Super Sunday in Cape Breton, and I'm doing a little tour with the brand new Chevy Equinox EV. Just decided to take a tour of some charging stations and get a bit of a feel for the distances and the ranges that you get on the island. And I'm also going to take the opportunity to stop and take some photographs along the way. A couple things I've been wondering about on a long trip is what drive mode should I use? Should I use the one pedal driving, or would I be better off with the regular sort of driving pedal and brake kind of feel? I think what I've decided is that on the highway, the regular brake pedal feel actually works a lot better for me, especially when you're on and off cruise control. You have a situation where you're sort of coming off cruise control for a turn or moving to a bit of a tighter section, and that abrupt braking that you get with one pedal driving with the adaptive braking is a bit jarring, a little bit less pleasant. The other thing that you get is, I guess, from an economy point of view, the best speed you can be traveling at is the speed you're already at. So coasting, which is probably easier to do in the regular drive mode, actually burns less or goes through less electricity. Something that I've learned is that the regenerative braking, although it does bring back sort of power into your battery, it doesn't actually bring 100% of the battery back. You get about, depending who you listen to, 5 to 20% power back from regenerative braking, and it's probably more like 10% maybe, I guess, on average. I guess I'll go with that. So having that abrupt sort of deceleration that you get when you're on one pedal driving although it feels like you're generating electricity, you're not really getting as much back as what you put in to get up to a certain speed to begin with. So for highway driving, I guess it's two pedal driving for me. I will say that I do like the one pedal driving for around town. You don't do a lot of cruising around town, so you don't get to that point where you're able to maintain speed for a long period of time. And in an urban situation, I do like the one pedal driving a lot. It does take a little bit of a mental switch in order to get used to one or the other. That just takes a second or two, and once you're rolling, it's usually pretty good. Continuing our tour here, I'm going through Boysdale at the moment. Stopped to take a few pictures. Started the day actually charging at the Flow charger in North Sydney at the Sobeys. Didn't take a video of that, probably should have, but just hit me at this point that I thought what I'd do was maybe document this trip a little bit. Aiming for the charging station in Whycocomagh. So we're going to be going through Iona. We're going to be stopping along the way, taking more photos, and we'll get you a report on the performance. Decided to charge in North Sydney at up to 95%. I think I pulled in there with a little less than 80, maybe 79%. And it took me about a half hour to get up to 95%. Probably wouldn't normally do that, or normally even pay for the charging at a station. Home charging works really well for me. I charge more overnight than I ever burn during the day in a regular sort of driving around town situation. But I wanted to pop up to 95% to get a bit of a better feel for what a long journey would do as far as fuel efficiency or electrical efficiency, I guess. So presently sitting at about 88%. Maybe I'd say we're halfway to Iona. Pretty pleased with the performance so far. It's my first, well, maybe not my first drive on the windy roads that are in and around Cape Breton, but I do find the weight of the Equinox significant in a turn, although the torque makes up for it. It's plenty powerful to sort of keep you going down the road. This is the all-wheel drive version of the Equinox. I guess the two-wheel drive version has a little bit less power, and although it's functional, people are less enamored of that. But the all-wheel drive version here, especially in sport mode, which I tried all through the day, lots of power. I'm keeping it in regular mode for now. This just works great. So we're continuing our drive. We'll check in maybe when we get to the next photo op, and we'll keep you updated how things are rolling along as we get to closer to Whycocomagh, and maybe cross the strait and head over to Little Narrows and taking the ferry. So there we have it. We're successfully in Whycocomagh at the Flow supercharger at the Irving. Trip took about 21% of my battery range. So I started at 95%, ended at 74. Now, if I calculate the cost of that at the rack rate for electricity charging at home, 17.5 cents a kilowatt hour, the trip from North Sydney to Whycocomagh cost me a little over $3. I think it's 93, 94 kilometers range from the Sobeys to where we are now. If I did the same trip in a small car, say something at 7 or 8 liters per 100 kilometers, so it's almost 100 kilometers, so we'll call that 7 liters at $1.40 a liter. So you're talking like a $10 trip as opposed to a $3 trip. Now, to be fair, I did start and stop a lot, and probably started and stopped about 6 times, maybe backtracked 3 or 4 times in order to take some photographs and get some footage and stuff like that. So, so probably would have been a little bit less, maybe 20%. Be splitting hairs at that point. So the trip, round trip, $6 in the EV versus $20 in a car. So that's good on this one trip. Again, to be completely fair, I did charge up for the purpose of this experiment, and I was a little curious about the cost of charging at the supercharger or the fast charger at Sobeys. So I added about 15% range at that charger for about $10, $9 and some cents. The chargers on the road are more expensive than charging at your house. Your best deal is definitely charging at your house at 17.5 cents kilowatt hour. To charge on the road at the fast chargers, you're looking at anywhere between 50 to 60 cents per kilowatt hour. So you're really much closer to car costs at that point. And at the level 2 chargers, if you're able to charge at a level 2, you're talking about 30 cents kilowatt hour. So for the most part, you're going to be charging at home, and I charged for this trip specifically because I wanted to try out the fast charger at Sobeys, and I wanted to charge up to 95%. I haven't charged that high before. Again, the recommendation is to keep it say between 80 and 10% for your regular operating range. Could have made the trip very easily starting at 80%, but I wanted to experiment with the bit of a fuller charge and see where we'd get. So there we have it, 21%, $3 trip. And as opposed to, I guess if I were to be, completely fair, if I was in an SUV, a gas SUV, like I am here, an all-wheel drive SUV, I'd probably looking at more like $10 to $12 per liters, I should say, 10 to 12 liters per 100 kilometers. All-wheel drive SUVs aren't really super economical. And actually the two-wheel drive version of the Equinox, the EV that I'm driving, it gets better range as well. So so there's that comparison. So maybe if we were to compare, I don't know, let's be generous, $10. So we're talking a $15 trip each way in an SUV, as opposed to the $3 trip that I just took. So I don't think I'm going to charge. I think I'm just going to kind of head on home and maybe explore a few more photographic opportunities. Hope for anyone that has been curious about EV charging on the island, I'll be able to make a few more trips like this and give you the lowdown on how it actually works with EV charging on the island. A little postscript to my story of the trip to Whycocomagh. Just coming back, thought, well, what if I wanted to go to Inverness? Unplanned, with a gas car would be no problem really, because there's several gas stations. Really not familiar with that side of the island. So I pulled over at the farmer's daughter here and kind of consulted my app on the phone. So the app, the wireless here is not great. It took a little while for the app to load and show me the route, tell me what was over there for charging stations. There are no fast chargers over there, so that was a bit of a disappointment. There was 4 or 5 level 2 chargers, so that's good. But again, the app was slow, so I didn't realize that in some cases, the Wi-Fi connection might become a bit of an issue if you're not familiar with an area. So pre-planning is important. So what I did was I kind of said, well, what if I wanted to go there? I put in my destination map, hit Inverness Beach Village, and then home. Given the current charge I have, leaving the Irving station at, was it 74%? Anyway, it turns out I can get home with about a 20% charge left. So a trip to Inverness, or a quick unscheduled trip off the side. Really not too much of a problem in this part of the woods. There are some chargers over there, but they're level 2 chargers. It would take the better, well, they would charge overnight. They would charge the car full overnight, but I don't want to stay over there overnight, but I don't have to. So that's my postscript. Good trip so far. Just I thought that was a bit of an interesting question. What if I had an unscheduled change, and it turns out in this case it would work out just fine. Looks like we have a double postscript here. I'm coming through Whycocomagh and discovered that the county of Inverness has charging stations. I looked at the PlugShare app, and the municipalities provided charging stations all around the county, including over in Inverness and Port Hood. So you'll see them here, and they're really nice to see. Be nice to have the CBRM do the same thing. There's a distinct lack of public charging in the CBRM, and most municipalities do provide at least a bit of base service. And congrats to Inverness for putting this here, and it looks like it's been here a while. Like they've been ahead of the game for a while, and charge on the cost on it seems pretty reasonable. I haven't charged or plugged into it. I don't need a charge right now, but I just like to recognize Inverness for doing this and going the extra mile. Thanks, guys.